CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode. Hi, this is Austin in post-production. You may be expecting a downtime episode or two this week, but that's not what you're getting because Terminal Company rolled a scramble. What this means is that their entanglement for their last mission sees them coming under attack at their FOB, and so they must defend themselves before they get their downtime. There was a lot of discussion off mic about this, so it didn't get explained during recording. Let's see how it goes.
Hello listeners and welcome to CalazCon. I am your GM, Elspeth, pronouns she, her. Today I'm joined by Don.
Hi, I'm Don, my pronouns are he, him, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.
And Sabriel.
Hi, I'm Sabriel, pronouns she, her. You cannot find me on social media. However, you can find my web serial, Clot, a family demonography, at clotserial.wordpress.com.
And Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt, pronouns he, him. You also can't find me on social media, but you can find the other Beam Saber podcast, Admiralty Blues, wherever you find your podcasts.
And finally, Philo.
Hello, I am Philo T. Hazard. I can't remember what pronouns I use on this show. I have done 2 different Beam Saber supply drops. If you want to be a funky artist, then go take a look at the project. And if you want to be some other things, go look at And When You Move Fall Like a Thunderbolt. Also, I'm in Admiralty Blues. Hello, I'm ambivalent as to how your day is going.
And those Beam Saber supply drops are Philo Hazard, like the pastry, and danger.itch.io.
That's actually my Steam name, fun fact. It's Pastry Danger.
Yeah, also that's not a bit, by the way.
That isn't a bit, no. I'm also Chew Risk in some places.
Philo, do you think you could hit us with some pronouns so that we don't misgender you on air?
Ah, shit. Okay, use the they and thems just because I genuinely can't remember how I normally introduce myself on this show.
We do have a fancy stream overlay which says your pronouns are they.
Fucking A, there we go. Ring-a-ding-ding.
So, I think it's fair to say that some shit went down this mission. How about you remind us of the exact state of things? I guess we can start off by saying you went on a reasonably straightforward mission and were ambushed by 2 different squads at the same time. Both the Vermin via Burnout's rivals, Slipway Bolt, and the 501st due to your vendetta with them.
I believe we had plans on at least Slipway turning up, but it all went a bit pear-shaped, unfortunately.
Yeah, you planned on, goading them into showing up, but actually they were just already there on the assumption that they would be there to fuck you up. You also met your old, uneasy Evangelion allies, the Hive and Morn Marza, and they had some covert operatives from the 501st hiding in their ranks, as a result of which Board Squadron, your infantry fire team, nearly killed all of them.
It wasn't great.
We were talked down by True.
Yeah.
It was a bad time. Can we get a quick rundown of people's harm, damage, and your beliefs and drives?
Just double checking, we don't get the tidy up of the level 1 harms, do we, because of all these shenanigans?
We do, I think, actually.
You do.
Gestures vaguely the horrors. Okay, well, then I'm in a better state than I thought I was. Please, continue.
Or we will. We've not gone through.
Yeah. Can we get, starting with Hilo, can we get a quick rundown of harm, damage, drive, beliefs?
Harm, damage, drive beliefs. Those are my stats from my favorite TTRPG. I had the level 2 harm dissociating, as we all do from time to time, and the level 1 harm tired, which I've just cleared. The truck has the level 2 damage melted, which I'm sure won't come up and is perfectly fine. My connections with Michael are, I thought Michael had gotten out, I'm guilty, and I'll make sure he walks free. And in order to leave, Michael needs to actually want to. My connections with Julius Thermidor are, Julius needs to realize he can't carry all the weight himself. And when Julius's past is involved, he can't be relied upon. And then with Ipse, it is, I see long reach in Ipse. They should be protected. And Ipse deserves space to be their own person. They are an individual. I can see they care. Should I add this little additional thing on my character sheet there that I picked up last mission?
Yes.
I now have a cheeky scar with the lads. I've taken the scar vicious, but on the plus side, it does mean I have no stress coming into this.
Great. And your drive is...
Yes, okay, my drive is Free Michael, which currently has 0 ticks in it. I need to work on that. I need to rescue my poor sweet boy, and
do you think that you did anything towards that last mission?
Yes, actually, because it came up right at the start of the mission where Michael was talking about in a letter where it was being discussed.
Oh yeah,
that definitely came up.
Okay, I'm taking a ticky-do there. All right, well that's.
But what did you do towards it happening?
Yeah, see, that's all action on Michael's part, though, isn't it? Like, I don't think.
Well, no, I think Michael was talking about how the conversations that they'd had he had actually taken to heart, and I remember specific because it was something that had come up a lot in downtimes, and Michael had specifically, as part of the mission, right at the start, going, "Yeah, no, I have taken what you've said to me about this in heart, but also I got to be me. But I have been listening to you, Drew."
What do you think, Elspeth?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
That's one ticky-do. It's built up over a couple of downtimes. I'm at peace with that. Long reach is drive, because long reach also has a drive. Only 1 tick in that, or only 1 clock, is ensure I'm the last of my kind. Which I don't think has come up yet. Again, 0 ticks in that, but I think that's accurate for the moment.
I don't know if long reach has done anything about it, but certainly...
there were some big arguments regarding AI calls, but I don't think...
Though.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think long reach has acted on that in a mission context. So I'm at peace with that being 0 out of 3 for the moment.
Right. I think the only pitch you could make is you did fight some enemy transforms, some people who turned into these RV scale, towering, flesh monsters.
Bioweapons, effectively.
There is still a person under there. This isn't a person being solely created to be a weapon. In the way that they are, I would argue, is the distinctness.
All right, let's get a rundown from Michael.
Currently on 7 stress. I have not managed to clear that completely. In terms of my harms, I have a level 2 red from Slipaway Bolt, just completely calling me out. The level 1 G-Force, which I'm sure we're going to clear in a second. Damage on the Vector Mantis, we have a level 2 Crushed, because right at the end of last mission, and there's a little bit of a follow-up I might have on this in a second, we ended up doing 1 little bit of damage to Slipaway, myself and Julius, by basically collapsing a tunnel on top of all of us. But we managed to get away and cover everyone's escape. So I've got the level 2 damage Crushed, of a level 1 damages Scraped and Sprained, which I am very much looking forward to getting rid. 4 out of my 5 quirks spent. And my drive is to become a designated ace poster boy. And I would say, I think, in terms of the way that, I know there was some stuff that went down that was less than heroic last session, but at the end of the day, ended up teaming up with Julius, a hero, in an act of self-sacrifice to cover the escape of the rest of my squad, and basically getting us out. I think that's pushing towards doing the kind of overt actions one needs to get noticed for this kind of thing.
I say so, yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, in terms of my connections, for True, I've got I Can't Lose True Again. I need to get her out. For Ipse, I've got It's Naive to Think You Can Change the War. For Julius, I've got Turncoats Can't Be Trusted, I'm Watching You, and Julius is Here to Usurp Me. And also for my rival Slipaway Bolt, I have 4, so we need to ask a question about one of these as well, I believe, to get an extra XP. I've got You Can Steal a Machine, but You Can't Steal Talent. This is all part of a Slipaway plan for leadership of the Vermin. I've got I Can Make Slipaway Dance to My Tune. And I've also got Slipaway Has My Number. If I don't change, I can't beat them. And that's the belief I want to ask a truth about.
Okay. So do we do that now, or do we do it in downtime? I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how do you...
I mean, it would have happened... I think it strictly should have happened when we got that last belief filled. Which
how does Michael figure out the truth of this in the fiction right now?
I think it's more of an abstract Matt asking Elspeth thing, to be honest.
All right.
Was my interpretation of that one. I've got some ideas about what would be interesting about how Michael might get to this, but...
I think Michael does have to get to it, because like part of the point of this is that the clock and the beliefs reset because you have a new basis for how you understand Slipaway Bolt.
Could it just be Michael reflecting on the previous mission?
Yeah, I think
Is there time to reflect here?
Michael basically got completely read by Slipaway, wasn't able to do anything, and effectively ran away. But at the very end, when he was more trusting in Julius, was working as a team, that was when we were actually able to do some actual damage. So I think Michael is basically, and mechanically supported by this clock filling, coming to the conclusion that is true. He can't beat Slipaway the way that he is at the moment. He has to change, and he probably has to learn from Julius a little bit.
Oh God, no.
I think if that's the belief you want to ask about, I think it's true with some sort of caveats. I can give you some more information. I guess it's true that you need that Slipaway Bolt at least thinks that they know you very well. What they said last mission about you being sort of essentially this hyper-competitive, ambitious pilot with this very linear focus on the numbers and so on.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, Slipaway is saying that not out of resentment, but out of... I think it's fair to say that at this point you know the basic details of the Vermin, which is that they are convicted criminals fighting in order to try to earn pardons. So you can maybe...
It's not a million miles away from Mike's backstory, because he was the illegal street racer, so there's a part of that resonates with him, right? So
yeah, true. There's a certain resonance there, but at the same time, you get the feeling that Slipaway doesn't view it that way at all. Slipaway views this as you sort of almost coming into piloting from a background of privilege and leisure, whereas you can probably guess most convicted criminals don't actually know how to pilot an RV. From Slipaway's perspective, you're doing this for sort of heartless, selfish ends, whereas they are doing it to try to secure the liberation of themselves and their friends in the Vermin.
That's interesting, because Mike definitely doesn't view... Mike did not have a very... Mike probably is considered Mike, I think, does have, outstanding warrants against him and, was involved in a lot of criminal activity. He definitely doesn't look at himself that way. So it's very interesting that Slipaway does. And I think there's some merit because, the kind of stuff he was doing did involve driving around in mechs rather than any kind of other stuff that was going on. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Slipaway doesn't completely have your number. Slipaway doesn't, like you said, doesn't know all about your background, doesn't know all about the sort of friendships and relationships that Michael does have with True, for example. But part of that is because Michael doesn't, bring those into the fight so overtly. I feel like it's fair to say if you asked Michael why he was fighting, he wouldn't bring those up. If you asked Slipaway at least how Michael might need to change, that's what they would say.
Because, some of those drives are, can't lose True again and stuff like that. It's probably not stuff he would bring up with Slipaway, or that's probably not what he would say to Slipaway. But I think in his heart, that is partially true. So if I'm resetting this back to 1, maybe that's something that could inform the new, because it resets to 1, and so presumably I do a new belief to replace the previous 4. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of the main thing you've learned, that Slipaway feels like their fight is backed by, like, sort of, like, something noble, by friendship and wanting to help their friends, and believes that you, conversely, that yours is driven by selfish ambition.
Interesting. So I think the belief I'm going to have to start to reset is going to be, if I want to beat Slipaway, I can't do it alone.
All right. Sabriel, tell us about Julius.
I would love to tell you about Julius. This old man's so fucked up. I guess I'll start with my harm. Discounting the level 1 harms and damages that were removed. I used to have the level 1 damage fresh joints from being repaired. I have the level 3 harm gut shot. So that's great. I also have the connections with Mike. Michael has no understanding about how the war will crush him, and Michael's dislike of me means he won't judge me on my mistakes. God. I have the belief about Ipse. Ipse's mission is hopeless. I can't help wanting to help them. And I have the belief about True. True's desire to take responsibility for everyone will get them killed.
That's the plan.
I also took a scar and a point of breakdown. The scar that I took is cold. I interpret that sort of along the lines of, like, this man's so tired, and he keeps trying to help people in ways that aren't killing, and it keeps not working. So, like, fuck it. And I also took the breakdown. I replaced my quirk, surprisingly delicate, with fit only for killing.
Okay.
Did I miss anything?
No, I think I would just also bring up a quick reminder for the listeners. So that level 3 harm gut shot is because when you attempted to help rally the Hive in the ambush last mission, because they are Urger Evangelion's squad, one of them recognized you and promptly shot you.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your drive?
Oh, yes. My drive is ensure Terminal Company doesn't suffer the same fate as my old comrades. Do you think I got a point in that?
I mean, you covered their escape, right? So
I did!
I'd say so, yeah.
Yay, Julius accomplished something.
And finally, Ipse.
Yeah, I am doing surprisingly okay, maybe, ? In the sense that I don't currently have any harm marked, so that's a good start. And my vehicle is also undamaged, also a good start. I do have 7 stress marked still from the last mission, so that's going to be
7
fine.
stress club.
Yeah, it's going to be fine, I'm sure. No scars or vehicle breakdowns at the moment either. And then my connections, I have with Julius, the belief that Julius is proof that we are fighting the good fight. He should be protected. About Michael, I have the beliefs. Michael's youthful spirit is a chance for me to see the world differently, and Michael can be trusted with secrets. And with True, I have her relationship with Longreach reminds me of my former life. I am jealous. And then finally my drive is prove that the early birds were never a long-term threat to the DFS, which I haven't made any progress on, but that's fine.
Okay, great. I also realized that because we got distracted by talking about pronouns, I forgot to say that we would also like to thank our squad sponsor, Lily Young. If you'd like to also financially support the show, then you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. With that out of the way, the other thing to bring up is you still need to allocate a supply point from last mission, because I don't know if we talked about this, but for some reason, getting a good amount of supply is difficult, and you ended up with a 0 dice supply roll. Commander's really pulling their feet on getting what you need, and you rolled a 1 on that. So would you like that 1 to be personnel or material?
We get 1 additional material for being a democracy as well, right?
Yes. I think I've put that on the sheet.
According to the spreadsheet, I think we're full on material.
Either way, I'm probably gonna say personnel, right?
Yeah, drop it in personnel. We have more material than personnel.
Also, we're just hurt.
Well, but also bear in mind that we've got we get to do the quirk refresh as well, which means because currently we've got, before this has been added, 4 material and 2 personnel, and that's, we can have a maximum of 4 of each because we don't have like the storage upgrade.
Storage, yeah.
We're about to spend some material to do the quirk refresh, I believe, as well. So we could just get 2 materials and have 2 of those on top, which would probably be my call, potentially. Because I definitely want to try and refresh my quirks, because I
need to refresh my quirks so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I don't need to.
Wait, do you? If you suffer breakdown, then do you not... Is it
No,
not
you
like
don't.
getting a scar?
Yeah, it refreshes.
Oh, really? Oh, that's incredible.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Does anybody else need to refresh their quirks, I guess is the other question.
I've got 2 checked off, so I could probably do with it.
No, I'm good.
Everyone can remove all level 1 damage and all level 1 harm, and spend material to roll that number of dice and refresh the highest number of quirks.
Yeah. So I guess me and True just roll 1 dice each, and then we just keep 4 material from material 2 personnel. That would make sense, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds
seems
good.
logical.
Yeah, you want to roll that now?
Yeah, baby. 6 on the Diceroos.
Also a 6 on the Diceroos. Oh, do we also refresh our spark at this point as well, if we used it last time?
I believe it does replenish at the beginning of the mission, right?
I was going to say spark and armor both reset, right?
Yeah. But critically, what hasn't reset yet is anything that starts at the start of downtime, because I took the ability quick swap joints, or quick swap mounts, and we haven't actually got to the start of downtime yet. So any of my stuff that got junked, which was a number of things, my 1 uses do get reset, because I also have that presumably happens at the same time as armor, but anything that got junked doesn't, presumably. Or feel free to correct me on that.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So sparks refresh at the beginning of next mission, and armor is also like once per mission. Okay, so with that out of the way, yeah, you left the mission under a lot of heat, basically, and with a 1 seriously injured squad member. So I think you have some ideas of what that sort of looked like. So, for a reminder, we have Julius and Michael just staggering away in their RVs, and then we have Ipse and True in the truck with the surviving members of the Hive who you've evacuated.
Matt had an idea for how that looked like, and I would really love to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was imagining for Michael and Julius, we just kind of like, because I don't know exactly where we are chronologically, but if this is a flashback while we're finally back in the base, or if it's what we kind of see as the camera is going along. But as we see all this tunnel collapsing, Michael was looking up at a gap and like saying, I think I've got a plan. We hear a big whoosh of engines, and the camera cuts back as the dust is collapsing around everywhere. We then get another shot of basically the Vector Mantis with the Toro Taru just up on its shoulders, like a completely overloaded balloon, just like dipping around. Like usually it's so like agile, but it's just like as it's just kind of going around with everything on the back of it as they're kind of like flying away. Just you hear all these alarms going off as the fuel overburden is just going on. We cut again to like closer to the base in the siege line, where we see these huge divots in the ground as the breakdown is apparently cleared at some point, but Michael's RV is completely out of juice, so has had to be been dragged back to the base by Julius's mech, which has come back on, and they're just there, just like, that sucks. As this quirk refresh is going on.
Yeah, and I think I'd like to take over from that, and I think the RVs get pulled into the hangar and immediately are surrounded by support staff. I presume you've radioed ahead or something, so they know that you've got several members, about 10 or so, members of the Hive with you. They need to expect that, but even so, as you usher them out, you hear one of the staff just muttering, just like, we're already short on rations. I hope we don't have to feed these people, at least not for more than one meal. And immediately, Julius, you're being ushered to a former staff room from this derelict hotel that you're in to just get a bed and get what immediate triage your FOB can give you without a dedicated infirmary. Who's accompanying Julius to just, like, make sure that he's not, like, dying and that he's set up okay to rest?
I think Mike might do that if no one else is.
Oh, beautiful.
I was also going to suggest myself for that.
We can both do it. I think
we can both go. Yep.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think Birdie, the captain of your fire team of toughs, is also there and is just
Or
murmuring.
Sergeant, I think he is, but...
Sergeant, yeah. Just, like, muttering, after that mess, the vermin probably wanted a piece of us too. God, gonna have to watch our backs. Because you are indeed now also at vendetta with the vermin. So that's 2 squads.
As the artillery is just pounding around on the end of the line from the siege line.
Yeah. I think you can see that in the background we see that the Hive are sort of furiously debating among themselves. I imagine that they did have a conversation about whether they wanted to be taken back to your FOB, because after what happened, where Board Squadron nearly killed them all, they're understandably still a little bit suspect, or some of them are, at least, but I think the reason that coming with you eventually won out was that some of them were like, well, hey, if you're so worried about whether we should trust these people, do you want them to drop us off where you live? Really? So eventually they begrudgingly agreed to come back to your FOB and recuperate for a while. True, what are you doing in this moment?
I think it's unloading the truck, it's disembarking folks. I think True is unusually short if she hears that kind of talk, like, oh, we can't afford to feed these people or whatever. She clips a couple of people around the ear, which is kind of unusual for her. She looks incredibly drained. I think she's probably a paler shade than usual. Perhaps in the hangar, just getting, like, temporary tables set up and stuff, so at least they have places to dump their gear, at least they have places to sit. You know, we still have our FOB is still a big-ass hotel, so, you know, maybe getting a conference room set up for that or something, just so that they have their own space, that they can post their guards on the door if they want to, you know?
We have quarters upgrade, right? So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, there's more than enough space.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, what do you think Longreach is doing as you do this? Just oddly silent?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're probably back on the front of the truck. I think you know, the red eye is clearly following True around, but True doesn't. I think True is busying herself.
Right.
I think there are definitely support staff who could be looking after these people, and I don't necessarily think, like, True isn't necessarily checking in with them. She's just making sure they have practical needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Caring for people without there being that kind of emotional connection.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think there was also something we just discussed before we went on air as well, but we had an additional advance to take as well, so it's good. It was interesting that it came up with, like, Birdie as well, because I think we ended up taking the Blood Brothers one, is that right?
Yes, we did take Blood Brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a consensus.
Yeah, so our cohorts also get, like, skulks now as well, as we've been using them to infiltrate quite a bit before, so that sort of makes sense, and it kind of ties into, like, the stuff that True had been doing with them, like, last mission as well.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like in parts, Board Squadron also becoming skulks is maybe just reflective of, like, what it takes to fight in these incredibly, like, claustrophobic urban conditions. Yeah. So we see Birdie, Michael, Ipse, and some other support staff just trying to help Julius into a bed. I think we see like some poor private or someone who's like the emergency, like, triage medic for Board Squadron, so not a full doctor, but the closest thing you've got, just in the background, like, throwing open drawers and saying, like, wherever, I swear we had some coagulants. Did they not come in yet? Is that not tomorrow? Fuck. Just scrambling for supplies that you are clearly short of, but eventually they get some stuff together, they start, like, hooking you up to IVs and something like that. How's Julius reacting to all this, sort of rush and concern? How's he doing?
I think he's bleeding, mostly, is the main activity that he's concerned with at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Bleeding is a kind of reaction.
Yeah, I mean, the body is doing something.
Keep it together, Julius. You don't get to die here.
Whoa.
Oh, Michael. Hello. I don't think I'll ever die, Michael. Don't worry about it. It's just this.
With those words, I imagine, do we see Julius, like, the adrenaline of everything that he's done finally set in, like, almost if he's about to, like, fall unconscious or something?
Oh, I think he passes out.
Yeah.
Like, he might come to shortly, depending on sort of what the plot requires of him, but I think my boy is out.
Uh-huh. In the background, we see Birdie with a finger touched to an earpiece or something. As the rest of you look on, Julius passing out. He looks at the squad and he's, for a very straightforward guy, he is the most conflicted you've ever seen him. He looks almost apologetically towards you, Michael and Dipsay, but he sort of looks, his gaze holds on Julius for a second as if he's understanding him, trying to make and then he almost, like, nods imperceptibly, as if he's, like, made a call or a decision with or for Julius. But then he breaks eye contact and he says, "Unplug him. Unplug him."
You wanna give me a bit more?
Intercepting us on the mission was step 1. And the sirens begin to blare.
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I unplug Julius and give him a little slap to wake him up.
Julius is up on crutches in about 10 seconds.
Brilliant.
Jesus.
Just visibly in incredible pain. Right. Like, but it's just, like, stumping towards his vehicle and it's just like, "Sit rep, Sergeant."
Birdie says, "We've sighted numbers unconfirmed, but infantry and RVs heading to us on an approach angle. I estimate approximately 20 minutes until arrival. Maybe less if we're talking about when we're in range of some of their artillery. We're wide open. We're sitting ducks here."
How many?
I don't know. Small. A strike force. They clearly thought that they'd catch us down and divided. And I mean, who's fucking kidding? That's what they have. As we get that description, can we cut to True responding to this news while you're trying to help the members of the Hive?
True is scooping pasta salad. They have a lot of pasta salad. She is scooping pasta salad from, like, Tupperwares into takeaway trays, like little plastic eating receptacles. Scooping this food out to the Hive. There's a moment where, the alarm begins to blare. There's kind of rumbling. Folks aren't sure what's going on. True kind of looks up to the blaring speaker, which is just, we've taken over some of the hotel's existing infrastructure. A little bit of pasta falls from the scoop that she's been using into one of the takeaway trays, and then she's running. And I think the truck stoops and kind of stumbles. It is part into whatever those Evangelion chassis are called. You know, the big chassis that you put a mech in so it can have a little stand and a little bit of a rest. It's halfway into that. And Longreach is just helping the mech brush that off with, like, sparks of electricity, and then the hand on the truck is coming down to pick True up.
Alright. Well, yeah. It's a scramble. The 501st... Like Birdie said, interrupting your last mission was just step 1. They're coming to you. And you can now view your, scare quotes here, briefing in Roll20, which I'll read for our listeners now. The tattoo of artillery from across the siege line stills, but only because there is no one home to man it. Instead, the tired and the wounded stride out to pile sandbags in yesterday's craters. And those too wounded even for that are stretchered, packed into storage closets, oily second-rate sidearms pressed into their shaking palms. Any voice of fear or protest is lost amid the sirens, and the baying of the bastards at the gate. How will you answer? Your employer for this mission is the 86, which I imagine is employer in this context is just means like a hurried confirmation of, yeah, you're defending our siege line by repelling this. We'll cover your costs. Your target is, of course, the 501st Bastards Division. Your objective, hold your ground. Your secondary objective, prevent significant damage to FOB, the end of the line. Essentially, what this means for you is, in the mission, there will be a clock for damage being inflicted to your FOB. When that clock fills, I will ask you to pick a squad upgrade to lose. You will meet this objective if you make sure that that never happens.
Oh, this was a bad entanglement to roll.
You have one rule of engagement, which is protect Mon Marza. The DFS has done a lot of work to get vaguely, sort of, sometimes on side with the Jovangelian citizenry. What happened last mission has already damaged that enough. They don't need you ruining it anymore.
And Mon Marza is the leader of, or not necessarily the leader of the Hive, but like, of the group here, right?
Your liaison, yeah. And the leader of a particular group you have, yes.
We're best friends.
Yeah. Another thing I will add is if you meet that secondary objective, then that will count as a tick towards the faction goal of secure the borders. It will actually fill that goal, and the benefit for successfully securing the borders as a faction is all RVs get load 1 armor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
If you do it.
What was the bonus we get from the previous one that we succeeded in?
Oh, that's a good point. The Hearts and Minds, the bonus for that is cohorts cost 1 upgrade.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. Maybe we should get an additional cohort. That would be neat.
Well, let's survive this first.
Let's
Good
skill this
advice.
first.
Well, like Birdie said, you have 20 minutes-ish, maybe. How do you want to prepare? I don't think that the layout is a secret to you. It's where you live, so I'm moving you to what is going to pass for a map. Alright, so I don't have text labels for this, but essentially, green rectangle, that's like the actual building of your FOB. The brown ellipse is the like monorails, like train tracks and stuff, like all the ruins and detritus from that.
Yeah. There'll be stuff going out the sides of it as well, I'm sure, but that's where the footprint of it is, I guess.
The bigger grey rectangle, that's like your perimeter fence, but again, your FOB doesn't have the secure upgrade, so when I say perimeter fence, I do mean kind of just a barbed wire fence and some checkpoints that are manned by infantry. That's it. The big grey ellipse is where the ground has been significantly damaged by all the artillery near misses you've been having recently as a result of your vendetta. Unless a person or RV is well equipped, it will be harder to move in that because it has just been pounded into craters and mud and rubble. With the exception of the 2 roads going up and down, those are like your delivery and like going out on a sortie entrances and exits. You can move on those just fine. To the right you have the river, and the big orange circle there, just in case it's relevant, is that cannon that Blue Sky Endowment dropped off for you.
And is this at the siege line, so it's got the special rule for the siege line on it, where if you fly you get shot?
Yes. It does, and there is also a new region rule, because due to some unforeseen incident, I think this was a farm upstate thing. There's a whirlpool in the river. So basically, if anyone gets knocked in the river, they might get drowned and pulled into the sewer system.
Do we have a speaker system?
Yeah, because it's I'm sure we would.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. If for no reason, like a hotel would have a PA.
That's
Do we
what
have
I
a
was
speaker
thinking.
system that I can project out?
If you let me get in my RV, I have patriotic loudspeakers as a quirk. So,
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay. I need Ipse to help me with some diplomacy.
yeah, that
I
sounds
actually forgot Ipse drove Liberty Prime now. That's wild.
good. Excuse me, it's called the Blade of Liberty, but sure.
The Blade of Liberty, open bracket, Prime, close bracket.
Yep.
It sounds like Julius is at least part of a plan.
Yeah. I want to get on top of the base, and I want to yell at them until they fuck off.
Ooh, fun overlap, because I want to get on top of the base and shoot them until they fuck off.
Yeah, well, that's the second part of the plan, but the first part of the plan is I really, really, really want to trigger carry a big stick.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
I
out.
need to nominally... Well, listen, if they go with this, that's great. But
They might not.
I need to offer a peaceful solution, and I have a peaceful solution prepared.
Do you now?
I do have a peaceful solution prepared.
I don't know if you mentioned this. Do we have a direction of attack for this strike force compared to the map?
Yes, I would say that looking at our map, the ones that have been sighted are coming from the south. When I say you have 20 minutes or so until they arrive, I don't want to rule out you making any fortune rolls or doing anything like that to prepare that could feasibly be done in 20 minutes.
I might have something, or at least some plans, but let's see what Julius has got.
I mean, I think it's an intimidation tactic, right? And also a moment for Julius to do some dramatic things. So actual tactical stuff, I feel like it's probably a good idea, because after that, my only plan is really stay up there and shoot them with artillery.
Michael will also be on his radio to Spanners, like, Spanners, you've got to get the Mantis up and running. And Spanners is like, yeah, as soon as it came in, I started refueling it, don't worry. It's like, did you do the quick swap mounts? We've not had time. Oh, damn it. Just to be clear, the stuff I've got junked from last mission is my 2 big blades on the front, which is going to be a bit of a problem, and the boosted reactor. I think the one use stuff gets reset at the start of the mission, same as armor, so that's back in. But Mike's heading towards there. He also wants to get someone in that bonus ape mech we got, which I think was also from Blue Sky.
Yes.
He's going to call out on the radio for someone to get in that. I'm thinking Lilac might be a person for that, or possibly one of the any member of the board squadron who might be available, or possibly even one of the Hive.
Definitely not the Hive, I think. They're civilians, essentially.
Do we have anyone else who could pilot a mech?
In the fiction, we've got NPCs like Renee and Spanners and the technicians who feasibly could. I'm not sure if I want Renee. I'm not sure how useful he is at that, but I guess we could put in, I'm sure some of the techs that we've got, there's probably someone that could, but that seems a little weaker than having a named NPC that we've had already. I think Lilac is the one that, because Mike's had a relationship with them or has talked to them about the AI core stuff before, so that's where his mind would go, unless anyone else wants to.
Yeah, why don't we put Ipse's gun baby in something?
Oh, the AI core is currently in the van. That's the other option.
What about the gun that the Blue Sky Endowment gave us? Can we put the baby in that?
If we get there, yes.
If we get there, we've got to get it there. Yeah.
Oh. Maybe we could send someone to do that?
I suspect that might take longer than 20 minutes to do an installation. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But,
just
Elspeth,
mean
I don't know.
Part of the mission, right? Would it be a good idea to open with maybe sending Mike, because Mike is very fast, to the big gun to put the baby in it?
Oh, we're doing baby gun, huh?
Yeah.
It's
baby gun
time.
tactics. Unless True wants to raise an extremely reasonable moral objection to that, I don't know.
I don't think True's in their headspace
Mike's
currently.
not in a position for moral objections.
I'm very here for you deciding that you're going with, like, a technological plan, where the plan is buy time for us to, like, stall until we can assemble a super weapon.
I think that's fun.
I think there's going to be lots of plans happening at the same time.
I feel like as a basis for like an engagement role, I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Like, so what is the artillery that we have access to right now? Like, it's just his artillery encampment. Like, what is it?
It's a big gun that our friends got us. The big gun on the other side of the river is the big gun that we got as a gift. It is not the gun that's been hammering us.
Yeah.
It is the big gun, which, to my knowledge, we have not yet utilized.
Yeah, I just feel like we could put the baby in it and then utilize it in this way.
Step 1, insert baby in the gun.
For that.
Step 2, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah.
This is a desperate situation, so Mike would be, like, on board.
Give Mike the baby,
and
then have Mike put the baby in the gun, and then meanwhile we try to stall as much as possible.
Yeah, I think put Lilac in the RV, so we've got an additional
you're really
RV.
weaponizing all of my boys today, huh?
We are going to die, True?
That's the plan.
We're going to die.
No, and she's not outwardly objecting to this. It's just the fact that Michael, the core, and Lilac are all being weaponized all at once.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine if I weaponize myself then, I see.
You're an adult.
I also think maybe we should give Board Squadron those grenades
I was
we
thinking
got.
that
Give
as
him
well.
the goo.
We really need to come up with a better name for those.
Yeah, we really do.
I forgot what they were.
They turn things into goo, I think.
No, I realized then. It's just the name didn't help matters for me.
No.
No, it turns them temporarily soft, but it's only, like, inorganic matter. And so you can turn a mech into goo, and then, like, the pilot will just slurp out through it like Jell-O, and then it will go
And
back.
if you use it on a cyborg, something horrific would happen.
Or a robot.
Yeah, Michael hates these, by the way, because it will jank up any tuning you've done to it, and he finds it sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious?
Sacrilegious?
I think that we might have to do.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest my version of a bit of a plan we just discussed, which is I think we should give Board Squadron some grenades, and then in this short amount of time, have some of them go forwards and camouflage themselves, because they're now skulks, so they should be good at that, so that they can ambush the enemy RVs when they get close with the grenades.
Yeah. Sap them.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
We're also going to put Lilac in the spare ape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess any of Board Squadron who aren't doing that, just setting up, like, infantry defences on the infantry perimeter, that broadly seems like a...
I feel like we're kind of committing them all to Mission Goo.
Yeah, I think they can do Mission
Sure.
Goo.
Okay.
I was going to put myself just, like, outside the FOB, a little bit behind where Board Squadron
I need your
are
speakers.
setting up. Well, yeah, but you can remotely, from me, do the
So-
speakers, right?
Oh yeah, I suppose I could just like tick a long range transmitter. I'd like the speakers to be like as central as possible.
Okay.
Right? Like I need to be highly visible.
I mean, you can be very visible, and the sound can be coming from, like, a slightly different place.
Okay, yeah.
Do we have
that makes
an
sense.
easy way to just get on the roof of the FOB and down again, I guess is my question.
You're big. I feel like you can just, like, climb.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very
Cool.
large.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
that
right.
was
I'll
my
climb up
intent.
there, and then after we're done speaking, they will surrender, so this won't come up. But if they don't surrender, I'll probably get down and fight on the ground.
Do a cool jump. Do like a superhero landing. It'll look sick.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that is cool, actually.
There
Yeah.
you go.
And I'm just looking at what the different kinds of plans are.
So we are putting the baby in the gun, so I feel like your initial idea of it being technology makes sense.
Oh, hold on. You're doing both of them. Okay.
We're doing a bunch of
We're
things
doing
at
all the
once.
plans at once.
All right. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
We're deploying every fucking asset.
now I'm almost wondering if this is like deception, trick them into thinking you're fighting them sincerely when actually you're preparing to like fire a siege
To
cannon.
baby
at them.
gun them.
That seems a little involved. I don't know. I like technology.
Okay.
I feel like that's the clock that would be ticking, right? That's the primary clock.
Another aspect of the plan is like deploying the grenades against them, which is also technology, I feel.
That's true.
True. Yeah. Double
Yes.
technology. All right. Still, here are my main things I want to bring up and make sure you're aware of with the put the baby in the cannon plan.
Can that be the name of the clock?
Baby cannon.
Put the baby in the cannon.
Okay.
It's not...
Things to mention. Number 1. That cannon is on the other side of a river. It is decidedly not in, like, your territory. Maybe you can get it working there and then move it again later. Potentially. Maybe. But also, getting it working on such short notice might mean getting it working more, like, shoddily.
Getting it working once.
Yes, precisely.
Because this is not... I'm getting the impression this is not something we can do, like, as setup. Mike's going to have to go over there and do it, like, during this mission, right?
I would say
yeah, you got 3 points of engineer.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Uh-huh.
We also have a clock, I think, that's called Exploit the AI Core, which is one of our long-term projects. I'm not sure if that might also get ticked as part of doing this. I'll leave that to you to figure out.
I feel like essentially what you're doing, what we're talking about is, like, under the rules of, like, you know, things happen fast when you're in uptime. Shit fucking goes down. You are essentially rushing, completely finishing that clock to get an immediate result that you need urgently, with potentially some compromises in the finished result.
That sounds like what I was
That's
thinking.
currently of 208.
You know,
So that would
I
be
feel like if we'd filled that clock, we would already
Yeah.
have the baby cannon ready, and...
Exactly.
We gotta come up with a better name for it. That and the Gunade.
This does bring me to my final caveat, which is, from my understanding, that cannon that they have given you it's big.
Am I right in thinking that this is this the finite recurrence?
This is a siege cannon, so, like, this is what I'm getting at. If/when you get this running, we're talking about, like, a thing designed to be aimed at a building, being aimed at some guys. So, if you put the baby in the cannon, which I'm sure that's the wording we're using, I guess. If you put the AI in the cannon, I will take into account the fact that you have an artificial intelligence guiding this thing, but I still think we should be clear, there will be some kind of role for how much do you fuck up your own shit when you fire this.
Oh, it might decide to shoot us if we do it badly.
not it'll decide to shoot you, more like the area of effect is that big.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Part of this plan is definitely don't let the enemy, like, close enough to the FOB that this is going to be a problem, so...
Yeah, we can figure out where we're aiming at once we get the baby in there. Because the baby is currently in the van. I don't know how easy it is to get the baby out of the van and into a more transportable way, or if Mike has to drive the van. Spanners can drive the van, it's fine. We'll figure that out.
Sure you will. Okay. With all of that in mind, are we ready for an engagement roll?
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Ooh, I
hell
think so.
yes. Hell yes.
Alright, so
I think we
your
are.
plan is scientific. The procedure is goop up the 501st RVs and put an experimental AI in a currently defunct siege cannon. Correct?
Sounds right.
Operation Everything in the Kitchen Sink.
Yeah.
Is the
Operation
mission bold?
Child Gun. Let's go.
Operation Kick the Baby.
No!
Is the mission bold? Yes. 2 dice. Is the mission complex?
Also, yes. It does rely on us programming a siege gun during a mission while under active fire.
Yeah, I guess what I more mean is, I view complex as like, are there a bunch of moving parts? Like, is there a sense of like, oh, and when that guy shows
There's not a lot of
we're going to jump
variables.
out, and we're already
Sure.
going to, like... I think that your actual plan is simple, even if the science is not. I'm willing to say that you're still at 2
Sure.
dice. Does the tactic exploit vulnerabilities?
Who isn't vulnerable to mass artillery fire?
Yeah, are the 501st vulnerable to getting destroyed by a siege
They
cannon?
certainly won't be expecting it.
I was thinking more the grenades and the
Yeah,
RVs,
you know,
right?
what's the weakest point of an RV?
Yeah.
You know, that famous saying. Alright, sure,
Cool.
3 dice. Is the tactic ineffective? No. Does the squad have external support? No. Is anyone interfering with the mission? No.
I didn't enjoy that pause there, Elspeth.
Yet.
Plus 1 dice because you have the quarters upgrade, so like everyone you need is here and ready to go. Minus 1 dice for something you don't know about. So I believe we're at 3 dice.
Is this our best engagement roll ever?
I think it might be.
It might be.
I'm happy to roll it, but I think I might have done that last time, so someone else can.
I'll give it a go if you want.
Hey,
Yes!
look at that. That is a 6, a 2, and a 4. Beautiful.
Okay.
While I was looking back and trying to find the name of the stupid gun, one of the things I saw in the cast chat was, is Terminal Company the nicest?
I think we are.
Unfortunate. Hot fuzz gif, shame.
For narrative purposes and also mechanical purposes, I would like my thing to be the first thing that happens.
Alright.
Sure.
True, where are you starting in the truck?
Yeah, I was also thinking about ascending to the roof, and now I'm like,
I don't think it's a bad plan. I mean, you're a sniper,
it's
right?
a good job, mate. But no, apparently I'm covering my good buddy Michael. Which maybe we get that decision-making and that mental math with True, where she is halfway up the building when she notices Michael sprinting towards the gun. And it's like a beat looking up, a beat looking back to Michael, and then she pushes off the wall, and the truck is mostly walking at this point, as at least one of the engines is melted, so...
Ah. Yes.
Michael is in the Vector Mantis, and I think Spanners is there in the van, just like gunning that, because that's where the icon is.
Alright. I'll open with, you see some dust on the horizon, and then the cloud resolves, and you see the force that is arrayed heading towards you. You see, first, towering, far above any of your RVs. You've seen a thing like this before. This is an extractor. Empress Gold was piloting one. This is a big, heavy resource extraction unit. It sort of looks like a bipedal buzzard. Like it has an extended, double-jointed, neck pointing forwards, on the end of which is a very sort of hooked triangular head. It has these big, sharp, sort of raking claws, and this very bulky, blocky torso. The difference is, because this is a 501st we're dealing with, this one's been modified. You see where this one, the example art, has a big hammer? This one is holding a RV-scale two-handed claymore.
Sweet.
Walking proudly, boldly alongside it is that figure you know and love all too well. It is the signature ape of force majeure. So, a shield, an axe, I imagine sort of outfitted in regal purple. It's got some epaulettes and a cloak. An ape is normally a Evangelion unit. These people are not from the Evangelion Empire, but the aesthetics have so much overlap that Force Majeure pilots a retrofitted one. And I don't know if we've ever got the name of Force Majeure's RV on screen. Force Majeure's RV is called the Scapegoat.
That's pretty fucking good.
Huh.
So you see these two RVs, and then surrounding them, rapidly fanning out to take flanking positions, is a host of heavily armoured infantry. And in fact, you see a sort of blocky rectangular shape as well. You can see some of the infantry on foot, but that's only because they are disembarking from an APC, which is continuing to just sort of circle the area of your FOB. And you can see some shapes protruding from the APC. You would guess it's got some kind of mounted artillery weapon. So overall, that's an extractor, Force Majeure in a scapegoat, some infantry, and an APC with a mounted artillery weapon.
If you've got the ape there, could we get a version of that for Lilac on our side as well, just so we can track where they are as well?
Yes, the ape can be Lilac, and for force majeure, we will just use his portrait.
His portrait is such like an annoyingly sexy fascist. God.
Where do you want to put Lilac?
Front lines?
Yeah, perimeter, I guess. I know that we've said the board squadron are out doing their own thing, but there's probably going to be a few other people, like, just...
We said there was some infantry around the perimeter as well, right? So,
like, even if that's just, like, the rest of our support staff defending their home with, like, small arms, right?
Yeah. I think as Lilac steps forward, he opens a line with you, True, and says, "This is it, if I want it. Right? I've spent enough time in the machine. If I want out after this, if I want to go home, back to the curse or something like it, you'll help me, right?"
this is all I'd ask of you.
Okay. And I think that's drowned out as a voice blares out from the scapegoat. "Bring us the traitor, the murderer, the turncoat. Bring us Julius." And then there's a punctuated boom as like that mounted APC cannon fires a warning shot just inside your perimeter. What do you do?
I ain't hiding, bitch. I'm on top of the fucking roof with the speaker.
Yeah, I think said with the intent of like, get down from there,
Come
Come
I
out
see.
here.
Okay. Well, I got my little bit I'm gonna do. So the setup is this: I'm on top of the roof, and Ipse is somewhere else with a big old speaker.
I'm also on the roof.
Ipse's on the roof with you.
Oh, okay, cool. That's fun. I think it's a good image to have for the Toru to have like one hand on the Blade of Liberty.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually.
It's also the combo of mechs that cause some trouble for the past as well.
Yeah. So we get a shot of Julius in his cockpit. Man's not looking great. He's heavily bandaged and thoroughly doped up, but like, he got shot in the stomach, which is a bad place to get shot. He coughs loudly, and then he mutters to himself, "Theatrics." And then he presses a button, and the speakers sort of like we get a big like staticky blare, obviously, right, while they're coming online. And then he says into the microphone that has been like sort of hastily installed into his cockpit, I imagine, "Soldiers of the 501st, I am sure you remember me. I am Captain Julius Thermidor, formerly of the Jovangelian Empire. I killed Lieutenant Nuclear Winter. You may also remember I have been killing both the soldiers of the Jovangelian Empire and the pretenders of CalazCon up and down the siege line for the past months, and that I am very proficient at it. I killed your Lieutenant Winter because they were a cruel, small person who used their honor as a smokescreen while they did the work of mass murderers and thieves. Because they wore the clothes of a make-believe fascist while they did the work of real ones, without the slightest understanding of the weight of their actions. Because they played. You all know my past. I did not play. I killed for the Empire for 17 years, and I did so remorselessly until it meant the deaths of everyone I loved. Those are the rewards your devotion will win. These are the wages your play acting will earn you. Today I will be more than happy to give you what you've earned. Or you may run. You may run far away from here, slip out of your cockpits forever, and burn your false uniforms. And in this way, you may live." And then he hastily switches off the button to have another coughing fit. So I'd like to offer a peaceful solution.
Okay.
Is that a command?
Alright, so I guess, what are you trying to achieve here? And
I
that's
mean,
my first question.
Like, sincerely, he means everything he just said. He doesn't expect it to go through, right? So it has secondary value as an intimidation tactic.
Okay. Alright, so essentially, like, if this went amazingly, maybe some of them would leave, but realistically what you're expecting is to contribute towards their defeat by sort of unnerving them.
Yeah.
And potentially also buy some time.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you're going to like this, but I think that this would more naturally be sway.
I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't have any
You can't
points in
command
that.
these. Yeah. I think you could roll command, but it's going to have less effect. I think it's going to be controlled limited.
I mean, like, command says here, you might lead a fire team in combat or browbeat a person to give in to your demands.
Yeah, true.
Swaying is you persuade with guile, wit, and charm. I'm not using any of those.
True. It's just, in some ways you're sort of in a lose-lose situation, because if you agree it's command, then by definition if we agree that this is a command, then it's also like, then you are instead faced with a thing of like, you are not in a position to command these people.
Sure, but it is also like being commanding as well, right? It's not always, strictly speaking,
Yeah.
chain of command stuff.
And, like...
I mean,
Is
yes,
that right?
potentially, but then even then, they have come here to attack you. They hate you.
I mean, I feel like you can intimidate people who are very intent on killing you. Let me put it this way, if this helps, I'm fully ready to follow through if by some miracle they go, okay, sure, let's talk about this. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to take reduced effect. I'm gonna be putting a whole bunch of fucking, like, things into this.
I think this is reduced effect, because in the end, what you're, like, in some ways what you've said kind of sums it up for me. You are happy to get them to follow through on your command, but you are not expecting it. What you are primarily aiming for is an emotional impact. That's sway, definitely.
Alright, okay, so, if I were to roll sway, what would it be versus if I were to roll command?
Sway would be controlled standard.
Okay. And if I were to insist on rolling command regardless, that would be what, controlled limited?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy to roll controlled limited.
Alright then.
Am I inciting fervor?
I think we could say so. You're the hero. You are talking about your incredible reputation at killing fascists, and like everyone on the FOB can hear you. So yeah, I think you could say that like your allies are part of this performance as well. Yeah.
I can imagine some of the infantry like giving cheers at points.
Alright, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna take my
totally.
spark to push myself. So, to be clear, I have the level 3 harm gut shot, which means that I cannot act without being helped or pushing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Does that include every action I take, including in my vehicle?
If we think that, what you are physically doing in your vehicle is something where being shot in the stomach would make it more difficult, yes.
So just about anything.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Yeah.
mind. I just want to get that, like, hammered out now. Like, I went into this knowing I am going to have a hole in my stomach, and that's going to cause everything to have problems. It's fine. I have so many pushes in me. Can I get a help from Ipse?
Ooh. Let me just think.
No?
So it's still stress to help in vehicles, right? I don't get to spend quirks to help.
It's stress to help in
It's
vehicles.
still stress. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And just to be clear, if I go up to 9 stress...
Which I think would
well-
scar you out, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so this is the thing, I'm floating on 7 at the moment. I do have a thing that stops me having to leave the scene when I scar, but I don't know if I want to do that yet anyway.
I mean, like, that's just useful, and getting a scar is, like, mechanically good.
It is cool. What I was actually asking is, if I fill the 9th box, does that scar me out, or is it when you would take the 10th?
No, it's the 9th.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
the
it's
ninth,
when
I
you
believe.
fit
I thought it was. Yep.
But you don't have 2 beliefs with me, so you would be one
Oh
short.
yeah, is it only 1? Okay, that's a good point. Okay, yeah, in that case I'll definitely help. Cool.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna push that to standard, and I'm gonna push the number of dice I'm rolling to 3.
I'm rapidly adjusting all the audio levels to help you, by the way.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
God, I would love it if this didn't get fucked up again. Woo! Okay, that is a 2, a 3, and a 5.
Alright, okay. No one listens to you, but you can tell that there may be... I don't know if you notice, some hesitation. I think maybe you see, some of the infantry glancing from one to another as you say this. And maybe also just, some unease or irritation, because they're not used to people pointing out that they are play-acting fascists quite so directly. Does this look like you contributing towards the defeat of these forces?
I could see that, or I could see it contributing to stalling so that Mike has time to get to the gun. I think it's more interesting if it contributes to their defeat, if it's a genuine intimidation tactic.
Yeah, alright. I don't think that you're going to seriously rattle force majeure with that one.
Nah.
So I think what we'll do is we'll start a 4 o'clock for the infantry. And put 2 ticks in that. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And I see you've got an 8-step clock for the AI installation there as well.
Yes.
Because we currently have 2 in the exploit the AI, which is 2 of an 8. Is that going on this, or is that just representing a certain degree of stability before? Because you mentioned there might be some side effects to doing this so quickly. So the fact that that's partially filled just makes that less, or is that?
I don't think that they are directly comparable in that sense, because this is also about, doing it under fire in less than ideal circumstances. And that, in general, the effort it takes to fill a clock on a mission is not the same as the effort it takes to fill a long-term project clock.
Sure.
However, so that was a mixed success. You rolled a 5. So I think the first thing that happens is, as you're talking, you're buying time, but unfortunately that works both ways. I think as your speech ends, the camera pans up and we see a cloud part, and we see something that we haven't seen in a while. We see one of the 501st's Zeppelins high up in the sky above you. With that flight method and with the cloud cover, they're more easily able to evade a lot of the difficulties that come with flight in the DFS siege line. A Zeppelin would not be a very effective combat weapon, but for those reasons, for reconnaissance, it's very effective. They have better eyes on you than you expected. Your position is dropping too risky.
Okay.
The second thing that happens while you're trying to buy time is we cut to the inside of a cockpit and we see some familiar purple-suited hands. We see the face of Force Majeure typing. We see him typing at a keyboard. We see that he has some earphones in, like he's listening to something. We hear the weight of his breathing. We see him shake a little, and then we see him press enter. I am starting a 6-step clock, and you don't know what it's for.
My favourite kind of clock.
One question though, Elspeth. Was this was a controlled consequence, right?
Oh, thank you. Yes. In that case, ignore me. That doesn't happen. Thank you.
But might happen at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Also,
Also, I realised that 2 stress triggers we getting confused about.
I mean, if you really want to do it, I could, swap position for effect retroactively. Get great effect, and you can do your mean thing to me.
You've dropped a risky. We've revealed the Recon Zeppelin. I think what Force Majeure's answer looks like is, unsurprisingly, the ape on the battlefield raises an arm and says, "No, why should we ever bow to the likes of you turncoat? Join us in the open field and prove what shreds of honor yet remain, or die a coward." and another shot is fired, and the battle begins in earnest. Something about force majeure sounds odd.
Yeah, sure did.
Maybe your speech really, really did get to him, but that didn't sound right. Who do we want to cut to next?
I have a thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to just specify, I don't know that it'll come up, but my pilot load is heavy.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Oh, yeah, good call.
I'd
Heavy
also
also.
marked heavy.
Heavy also.
Yeah, I mean, so why not for this one?
All right, was that true? You have a thing you'd like to do?
Yeah, I think so.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna check off the elemental nature of the weapon. I'm also going to check off a reforged system. An elemental nature means I can choose an element, periodic or historical, and describe how the weapon expresses it. And a reforged system means any declared pilot scale weapon natures apply to the vehicle scale weapon.
Okay.
So, the elemental nature I'm choosing is lead. When this bullet hits things, it makes things heavier. And I'm gonna shoot at this stupid blip.
That's fucked up.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. That's going to be risky. I'm going to say great because that is an extremely appropriate element.
This is an anti-blip weapon.
And yeah, that's definitely a bombard.
Yeah, I thought it might be. Luckily, I'm quite good at bombard, oddly enough.
Uh-huh.
We do have the vehicle damage melted, which maybe impacts this. So maybe 1d, minus 1d to start off with.
Yes, I would say so, definitely.
I'm checking off the tactical targeting system on long reach, because I think that seems accurate, so that checks things out. Get an extra dice, so I'm still starting off on 2. And you said risky great, yes?
Yep.
So the shot is true, opening the front what do you call it? The front canopy of the truck for a second, taking out a small cartridge from a small bandolier of cartridges that she has just kind of hanging up somewhere in the cockpit, and it is just a small cylindrical cartridge of lead, and it has is it PB? Is that right?
Yeah.
Hang on,
Yes.
I've got the periodic table.
No, that
I've been looking at a periodic table for the last 5 minutes. It's got PB engraved into the side in immaculate lettering. And she stocks it into a chamber on the side of Longreach, pats their side, and says, "Let's pop this balloon." Right, okay, so we're starting off very well.
Plumb this, you bum.
Starting off with just a little thumbs up. Do you have any relevant harm or damage? Yes.
Yeah.
Position. So you said risky great, yes?
Yep.
And my number of dice, we're going 2. That seems fair. I mean, I'm pushing myself for this. I'm at peace with this. Whatever happens, happens. 4-5. Lovely.
All right, then.
The shot from True is, a little, I don't know why I'm thinking of a film, a film hatch on a digital camera, but that's what I'm thinking of on the side of Longreach. Flips shut around the cartridge. Longreach, the core red eye is still the same color, but maybe some neon lights up, which is a lead color, kind of purpley grey color. And then I think True just starts firing. I don't think it's one shot. I think it's shots, piercing the balloon, of course, but also the, what's it called? A carriage on a blimp? That seems right.
Is it the gondola? I'm not sure.
Ooh, yeah, I think it's the gondola. Good work, man. And just, repeatedly firing into it. I think, there's a moment where there are a bunch of holes in it, and then True reloads and keeps firing. So I think this is True, stepping from a position alongside Michael and the van, where she's been, trying to cover it, using, a ruined building, an artillery kind of shorn building, as a sniper perch, and repeatedly firing up into this big, obnoxious blimp.
Great. Okay. Yeah, it sinks down heavily. There's an extremely loud sort of crash. I imagine we see it just plow through several stories of a building or something. In terms of what you've got from that, I feel like you maybe anticipated where this was going. The blimp's still got an accurate sense of a position of the FOB, but it's not there to spot Michael's run on the cannon. So effectively, for now, stuff Michael does is still controlled until you give me a good reason for people to realise what you're doing there.
Excellent.
Michael gets on the comms. Good job, au pair. That's going down like an iron balloon.
I mean, you're not. Well, no, she opens the comms and goes, lead, and then closes the comms again.
Damn, Michael takes a level 2 harm lead. Anyway, what consequence happens from this?
Could mean I get pinned down. It could mean Fascist McGee gets to upload his computer virus bullshit.
Oh yeah, I mean, do you want to do that scene, or...?
Yeah, you know what, I think that the way this works is that, like, we see that scene before of Force Majeure, like, shaking, listening to something, his breathing heavy, and he sees the blimp falling down. He sees, like, its last recorded, like, snapshot of a rough, like, aerial view of the FOB, and sort of a sense of, like, okay, that's the last time we're getting that information. This is good a sense of the enemy formation and plans as he's going to get. So
the last communication is having a good time, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Definitely not about to hit the ground, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face.
And so he grits his teeth and he presses send.
He was just placing an order via email for something. It's actually totally unrelated to the mission.
And with that, Michael, do you want to begin your run to the cannon?
Just for the people at home, that was creating a clock and putting 2 ticks in it?
Yes. A mystery clock.
Mystery clocks.
I'm sure it'll never come up. I really wouldn't worry about it. Very rarely in Forged in the Dark games do clocks tick. Fun fact.
Oh, yeah, never. You want to make your run across the river?
Yeah, that would make sense. I can't really start ticking that clock until...
Nice big distraction while you want to do that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, yeah, I'm guessing that's a maneuver?
Yeah, definitely.
Because we need to get the van over there that Spanners is currently in. The Vector Mantis does have, like, these claws on the bottom of it. So I think it is feasible for me to pick up, like, a van, especially if I use... because I've got the weight-saving ability, I get, like, one-use versions of a bunch of vehicle gear. And I think, this is not something that would work long-term, but for, like, a one-use pick up and carry it across, if I was to tick off a one-use, like, cargo space, would that make sense for me to just be able to take that van across and make a maneuver?
I think so, yeah. I guess my main question, though, is how are you crossing the water?
Well, I know that there's the rules on the siege line about flying. Presumably it's like flying up in the air, like being like a few feet off the ground isn't gonna...
Yeah, sure,
that, right?
You can boost horizontally, yeah.
Yeah, basically just like the same kind of stuff that Michael have done before for like keeping under a radar, but like, I'm pretty sure, you can get across there relatively low without triggering that ability, or at least that's the plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Let's call this a controlled standard maneuver.
Cool. I've currently got, in terms of my damage, crushed. Would that come into effect here? I've also got red for heart. Yeah, so would red for pilots?
I don't think so. I think that would be more difficult if you were, like, directly opposing someone.
Yeah, particularly slip away, right? Like...
yeah.
So crushed is -1 dice. I've got 2 dice in maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would probably make sense to use my heavy-duty boosters, a quirk, to get across there as quickly as possible. So that's a push to take me back up to 3 dice. Or, but like, what... This won't tick the clock of the AI installation getting across there quicker, will it? Or am I attacking that clock directly, or...?
I'm going to say that it will, that getting there is part of a progress towards getting it installed.
Okay, that makes sense.
This is partially me just, like, rethinking, being like, an 8 o'clock is too big. So to make up for that, I will let getting there count.
Thanks, Elspeth. I was looking at it and going, that's a lot of me sitting there rolling engineer. So, it might make sense for me to put that into... how would you be able to give me some assistance? True, like... I guess you kind of just have. What's your stress looking like?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually just a small smiley face in the box, which is kind of weird. It's actually the exact same font as that text from the blimp just before it blew up. So, yeah, good. Yeah, I'm willing to help.
Yeah, how many dots do you have with me?
2.
Oh, cool.
The way that I help maybe is just... I make things heavy across the battlefield.
I was gonna say if you had like ice elemental, you could like freeze the stuff, but I guess
unfortunately I can only tick off basically 1 per mission, I think. How would lead assist you?
Well, I think it's also a gun, right?
It is also a gun.
Like it also recontextualizes the taking down of the blimp, right? But maybe there were like potentially if you're just firing a few warning shots, so any like potential infantry eyes are just shuffled away from the line of sight of where they could get a view on me as well, or something like that.
Yes, with one key note. None of the shots are warning shots.
Okay, sure.
It's a shot of an infantry trooper with like a pair of binoculars, like, oi, that mech's about to cross that there river and such. And then the entire position they're on blows up and is covered in like a fine shade of lead. Like a veneer.
Oh. Lieutenant, I can't move. I'm so heavy. I can't get off the ground. In which case, if that's 2 helper dots...
So you probably don't need to push yourself in that instance, but...
yeah.
Up to you.
I probably don't. Yeah, I probably don't, but...
But you're going to anyway, because you want this to work.
Yeah, I'm going to anyway because I want this to work, and I think heavy-duty boosters is a sensible thing to be going for. So, or unless I can spend that as another up to take me from great to extreme. I don't know how you play with that, Elspeth. Or
No, I don't think you can.
Yeah, fair enough.
No.
Yeah, controlled great. I think that's 4 dice?
I think so, yeah. It's 3 - 1 + 2, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I thought that was rolling additional dice, so let me just do that again. I rolled the first one as a 6, so I'm going to roll another 3.
Yeah, just roll 3 more. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed.
Fishing.
It is crit fishing at this point. A 4-4-1, but still a 6. That's a great success. Basically, we ready to go? Spanners is basically tying herself, putting the seatbelt on, and it's just bracing because she knows what's coming. And all of a sudden, you just hear this whoosh and then we just go immediately across the artillery encampment, across this wall post, across this we get to see the cheeks of Spanners in this very fast moving van as we're just heading over there and just. I don't think I can get a full Akira slide to stop because I'm in a mech, but we get a cool kind of scorping down to slow down, and as we start heading back towards the artillery encampment.
You can Akira slide on a mech.
In which case, I do an Akira slide. No, I drop the van. The van does an Akira slide. And I do a post.
You do perfectly parallel Akira slides, both at the same time. It's
Great.
like spooning in a way.
Okay. Ipse, what's your plan? The combat has broken out in earnest. Michael has forded the river. You still have some hidden toughs and lilac in the ape at your command.
So I think what happens is after Julius's speech ends and we see that the forces are still heading towards us, I will turn in my mech briefly to Julius and say over comms, "It was a great speech. Shame it didn't seem to work, Lieutenant, but we'll have to take this into our own hands." And there is a whir of servos as the autoloader on my light machine gun slots a drum magazine into place, and then I'm going to jump down to the floor and get ready to fight. Although my first plan is to try and scan force majeures RV because something's up with them. So I want to find out what's going on.
Oh. Okay. I think you can certainly do that. I think that's going to be... I don't think that his RV is particularly cybernetically hardened. I think that's a risky standard.
Cool. So a risky standard scan. I want to ask... right, so here's a question about my quirk. I have short-ranged infrared sensors. I don't know if I'm in range yet, because I did say they're short. So I don't know if that's something I'd be able to tick off here.
I think that, like, on an RV scale, this is short range.
Okay, nice. In that case, I'm definitely going to use that to get myself a second die, and I don't think there are any other bonuses I can claim here, but 2 dice risky standard seems good enough to me. Oh yeah, 6-5.
Okay.
What if we just don't fail any rolls anymore? That'd be good.
Yeah, sweet. Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
why did you say that?
this is the good mission.
Yeah, this is definitely a role where you're going to be very pleased with the outcome and going to wish for more rolls like it. Yes, you spent those infrared scanners. I think you get a bunch of diagnostic information. What does this look like? Like, are you getting like an X-ray of a mech? You seeing like its internal workings?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we were seeing this on a screen, it's got the like classic sort of heat mappy infrared vision, and I'm sure as an RV, it's got lots of hotspots already. But I'm trying. You see, like my mechanical connection to my cockpit. I'm clearly manipulating something to like focus the scanners and try and discern exactly what's going on with this mech.
Yeah. Tell me if this doesn't make sense, but I think that maybe it's that particular, like, mechanical, like, analytical, like, synchronicity that you have with your RV that lets you get this information. Because at first, you don't see anything unusual. But is it fair to say that because of Ipse's sort of bodyguarding background, they have an eye for, like, appearances and, like, figures and, like, data and measurements and so on?
I would say so.
Especially when it comes to like seeing if people look suspicious, like, you know, the classic, is that person who they say they are they carrying something under their jacket, that sort of thing, being a former bodyguard. That heat map is too tall. The person in the ape is not force majeure.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at cvblight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find them on all social media at Devin Decibel. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.